Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, General Malik, the retired Chief of Army Staff, the retired Chief of the Air Force, Admiral Dhawan, the retired Chief of Navy, our current Naval Chief, Admiral Tripathi, Shashi Tharoor. I'll tell you, to be an elected politician for 4 terms is the toughest job I can know. It's so tough. So Shashi has consecutively won 4 elections for the Lok Sabha. Madam P.T. Usha and Baman, my good friend, and what a warm, passionate heart you have. You know, Rishabh said that I have a lot of India in me. And cricket is one of those things that I have in me a lot. And today I feel that it is a match where all of you all are forced to sit and Virat Kohli is out and now Bumrah is going to bat. It's because after all these very eloquent speakers, I don't know what I can say. And after Baman's song, I thought that should have been the finale. Next time, I think, Rishabh, we should change the formula a bit. Seriously. But as I think clearly all of us and a lot of the world agree that the future is India. We are the 5th largest economy today, on the way to become the 3rd largest before 2030 for sure. We are the youngest large population in the world, which gives all of us hope. Our median age is just 27. The median age of the population of Japan is 54 years old. So you can imagine the strength we have. And therefore, talking about uniting the world the Indian way, I want to begin by saying Namaste. Why did I start by saying Namaste? If we understand the meaning of Namaste, it is so typically Indian. Namaste is it's made up of 2 things, Na and Mo, which means that when I am meeting you, I'm saying it's not me, but you. And I'm bowing down to your values. Now tell me, which is a deeper meaning, that or good evening? That is the Indian way. That is the strength Gurudev spoke about, the spirituality. And therefore, let me give you a little bit of what I understand. I feel really embarrassed today. When Gurudev is here, he'll know that there are several errors I'm making. But this is my own interpretation. So Gurudev, please excuse if there are any errors. As you say at the end of every puja, if there's any galti, then you please let it be. And so also all of you all have spoken so eloquently. And Usha, P.T. Usha ma'am, the chief, my good friend, if I can have that privilege, of Admiral Tripathi, Baman. I'm just going to take some lessons I've learned from the Gita. Why is the Gita important for us? It is really the gift of India to the world. The Gita, if you look at the background, it was not taught in the Himalayas when somebody is doing meditation and in deep thought. It was taught in the midst of the biggest battle going to take place with 2 armies on either side. Arjun is the world's best archer. And in that midst, Arjun is in his 20s, and the Lord is giving him this he speaks the Gita out to him. And the Gita, Gurudev was telling me that one of his followers, a very well-known person, was an atheist but still believed. I believe the Gita is relevant for whether you're an atheist, whether you're Hindu, you're any other scripture, because it is it's only fundamental principles. I'm going to say first thing, which actually has been said by many of you. I'm just going to repeat it. So the Gita says that you should do exactly what Admiral said, what Baman said. What is your Swadharma? Or what is your true nature? What is your passion? And I think that is what I want each of you young people here to appreciate, that it is the passion, it is our nature that will make us successful. And even if it is the path less traveled, just like Baman said, his father was a shopkeeper, his grandfather was a shopkeeper, his mother was a shopkeeper, but he became an actor. And that's where he excelled. So each one of us, I think, what is really important for us is to identify what our passion is, or what our really nature is, and then follow that. Only then will we be successful. The second thing, again, all of you have said it, I'm just repeating it again and again, that there is nobody in the world who has not had difficulty or challenges. Whether it is the most successful person in the world, the richest person, the most handsome-looking person like Baman is, or any of us, all of us will face difficulties. There will be ups and downs. And as Admiral, you said, I'm just repeating things today. You know, if you look at our itihas, if you look at Ramayana and you look at even Krishna's story, they all went through more difficulty than any of us here have faced. Krishna was born in a jail. When he was 3 months, there were attempts to kill him. Or, no, in fact, even before that, Ram was sent to Vanvas, etc., etc. So all these are what? Showing us that each one of us is going to go through difficulties, and only when you come out of these difficulties will you become stronger, and there will be good times. There is no time which is permanent. Time moves on, good and bad, and if we recognize that, then the depression that we talk about is not there. That is my second learning, if I can say, from the Gita. The third learning, I think, is again, in every difficult situation, actually there is an opportunity, a door can open. I can talk about my own life, since Baman, you gave the freedom to talk a little bit about personal. My family business was in textiles. We had one of the oldest textile companies. My father died when I was young. My elder brother was there, who was also running the business. He also died very young at 33. So the circumstances made me run a business, which was then, there was the biggest strike in the world in Mumbai. I think some of you may know. And our textile mill also got affected. So our business was going bankrupt, family was in tension. And that's when, in this difficulty, we looked at an opportunity and we got pharmaceuticals. My wife, being a doctor, just helped. And that made the difference in our life. So if life was normal, we would have never gone into a new business. So similarly, all of us, there will be opportunities through challenging times. Our endeavor should be to last out the difficulty, and you will get an opportunity. So that is my third lesson. The fourth lesson is again, which is often talked about, and people think, is it really true? Is that we have to focus on the action and not on the result. What does that mean? Actually, if the process is right, if you do things correctly, the result is only a consequence of what you do. So rather than focusing on the result, if PT Usha only said, "Bas, main to first aaungi," without really doing the effort, the running and all the other things, she would not have come and would have been just unnecessarily stressed. So I think the key thing to do is to focus on the process and the results follow. The result is not going to give you the process. So that is a really important one, I would say. You know, talking of Swadharma, I should have said that. When Rishabh started I.I.M.U.N, that was his Swadharma, his true nature. And see where it has taken him. And whether it is in 220 cities, touching 50 million people in 35 countries, 26,000 volunteers, and so much more. How many lives has he touched? I think it is because of his passion and his Swadharma. And there I have to also actually congratulate and thank his parents, both Sanjay and Purvi. You must give them a big hand. And his grandfather, who have supported him not only through all the work that he is doing, but also financially for the last 13 years without any expectation of return. But this is the biggest return you all have done. So thank you, and that's a big deal. All of you spoke about values. And I think these are the same values. Humility was a consistent value which Gurudev, Admiral, Baman, Madam Usha all spoke about it. And I think it is so important. If we don't have humility and if you have arrogance, that is the beginning of failure. I can guarantee you that. Because humility is not weakness, as the Admiral said. It is humility without being modest. It is understanding that there are others in the world who know more than you on many subjects. And just listening to them, understanding them is important. And another value, and I found that very important, is integrity. What do I mean by integrity? Integrity is alignment with thought, speech, and action. What I think, I speak, and what I speak, I do. If you do that, that gives you so much of strength. I've seen in business situations, when you have a track record of integrity, trust me that you get much better deals than anybody else does. You're much more successful. At some times, you may feel in the short run, it's a costly thing to do, but ultimately, I think that's important. One more thing I feel very important also is the association of good people. In our lives, there's always a path which you can go down, which is a slippery slope. You need somebody or you need some people to tell you that you're going down that path and to stop it. You need friends and associates to be the positive people, because at this young age, many of us can get influenced, even at any age, why young, can get influenced. So please select good friends, good guides, good mentors. It is so, so important. I'm going to talk about one thing. I spoke about India becoming the third largest. But before that, I want to just remind you of another India. Today, if you look at India and I divide India into two parts. One is the south, west, large parts of north as one part. And if I look at the east, many parts of the east, whether it is Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Bihar, Assam, etc., you'll find that on every development index, there is a huge difference. One part of India, the developed part, is almost going towards a developed nation. But this other part, which is, as I said, the east, Orissa, Jharkhand, etc., 200 million people, their lives are worse than sub-Sahara Africa. And that is why when the Prime Minister talks about aspirational districts, we must understand that they are the people who live literally on $2. I mean, so that is the India. And when India progresses, as India progresses, I think this good part will become much better, and the difference between the latter part will become wider. And that is a recipe for future problems. So you as young people need to see what we can do, because again, we must realize and appreciate that we are we are actually very, very privileged. The fact that you are born as a human being itself is a privilege. The fact that you have got the parents you have, the studies that you have done, the fact that you are here today means you are better than many more. And I think it is our obligation, each person's obligation, to see how we can leave the world a better place. The fact that you are in I.I.M.U.N. is doing that. So, if I was to say, what are the things that I want to speak today? First is, you do what is your Swadharma, or what is your true nature. Second, please recognize that you will have challenges. There will be good times and bad. Just like the sea, there is a high tide, there is a low tide. That's going to happen. 3, every time there are challenges, but there are also opportunities that you can see. One door closes, the other door opens. 4th, as I said, is you have to do your action. The results will follow. The values, the 5th, whether it is integrity, humility. 6th, I would say, is the association with good people. 7th is to give back, that we are privileged. And final point, I believe, is that you have to have faith in a higher power. I want to just end with a story which is my favorite. Some of you may have heard it. This is the story of this is the story of a young boy who is having a dream. In his dream, he sees in the dream that he is walking on a beach. On the beach, he is accompanied by an old man. The old man and he are walking, and they are leaving footprints on the sand. He looks at it, and his life goes through his dream. In the good times, he finds that there are 2 sets of footprints on the sand. His footprints and the old man's footprints. And in difficult times, he finds only 1 set of footprints. In his dream, the old man is God, and he is the young boy. So he gets very upset in the dream that, what is it? He tells God that, how can you be so unkind? In my most challenging times, you have left me. there is only one set of footprints. And the good times you're with me. And that's when God says, yes, you only see one set of footprints when there are difficult times, because that's the time I carried you. I believe, at least in all our lives, there is somebody to carry us. Thank you.